Look around you. Take a deep breath. What do you see? Maybe you notice the walls, a screen, the sky outside your window. But honestly, you're missing the real story. The world is not what it seems. It's actually governed by an invisible empire. A silent, sprawling civilization that has existed for billions of years. This empire isn't made up of kings or presidents but of bacteria. They are the true ancient rulers of our planet. They were here long before the first dinosaur left a footprint, and they'll be here long after our cities have turned to dust. Their kingdom is hidden in plain sight soil beneath your feet, the air you breathe, the deepest, darkest trenches of the ocean. They're the architects of our world, the silent partners in every breath we take. You know, we often think of bacteria as invaders. We see them as germs enemies to be wiped out with soap antibiotics. But honestly, that's a pretty big misunderstanding. A narrow, human-centric story. It's a bit like judging an entire continent by a single troublesome village. In reality, the overwhelming majority of bacteria aren't our foes, allies, collaborators, and even our ancestors. Take a moment to consider your own body. You probably think of it as yours, a singular entity, a fortress of self, but honestly, that's just a comforting illusion. In reality, your body is a bustling, thriving ecosystem, a walking, talking planet inhabited by trillions of microbial citizens. The numbers are staggering and honestly, almost unbelievable. For every one of your own human cells, there's at least one bacterial cell living in or on you. By some counts, you're actually more bacteria than you are human. So, you're not really an individual, you're a superorganism. A cooperative, a complex partnership between your human self and your vast microbial entourage. This community is known as your microbiome, and it's as unique to you as your fingerprint. This legion of microbes isn't just passively riding along, they're active participants in the business of being you. They're not invaders, they're integral components of your bodily systems. The largest and most famous community lives in your gut, a dense and diverse metropolis of bacteria that helps you digest your food. They break down complex carbohydrates that your own enzymes just can't handle, releasing vital nutrients and energy you'd otherwise miss. They're like the master chefs in your internal kitchen, transforming the meals you eat into the building blocks of your body. Without their tireless work, you simply wouldn't be able to extract the full value from your food. That would lead to malnutrition and weakness. But their role goes way beyond just digestion. The bacteria in your gut are also your frontline soldiers. They form a living shield along your intestinal walls, occupying space and consuming resources to keep pathogens out. Long before the first plant ever unfurled its leaf to the sun, bacteria were already hard at work terraforming this planet. They're the original architects, the master farmers who prepared the world for all the complex life that would follow. One of their most profound contributions was the very air we breathe. Billions of years ago, a group of bacteria called cyanobacteria evolved a revolutionary new trick: photosynthesis. They learned to harness the power of sunlight, using it to split water molecules and produce energy. The waste product of this remarkable process was a gas that, at the time, was highly toxic to most life on Earth. That gas was oxygen. This event, known as the Great Oxidation Event, was perhaps the single most significant transformation in our planet's history. These humble, single-celled organisms started pumping colossal amounts of oxygen into the atmosphere, slowly and irreversibly changing its composition. This change paved the way for the evolution of aerobic respiration, a much more efficient way of generating energy, which in turn allowed for the development of larger, more complex organisms like us. Every breath you take is a gift from these ancient microbes. You're inhaling the legacy of a bacterial revolution that happened over 2 billion years ago. They didn't just make the planet habitable, they built the very engine of complex life. Their role as planetary farmers continues to this day, especially in the soil. The ground beneath our feet isn't just inert dirt, it's a living, breathing matrix teeming with countless species of bacteria. Many plants have formed an intimate partnership with bacteria living around their roots. Nitrogen is an essential nutrient for plant growth, but plants can't use the abundant nitrogen gas in the atmosphere directly. For over a century, our relationship with bacteria and medicine has been, well, one of warfare. We developed antibiotics, our powerful weapons, to seek out and destroy harmful pathogens. While these drugs have saved countless lives, this one-sided approach is starting to show its limits. The rise of antibiotic-resistant superbugs is a stark reminder that bacteria are formidable adversaries. They can evolve way faster than we can innovate. But a new era of medicine is dawning. One that sees bacteria not as enemies to be carpet-bombed, but as powerful allies. We are moving from a strategy of obliteration to one of cultivation and precision engineering. The most familiar example is probiotics. Instead of killing bad bacteria, we can introduce beneficial ones to restore balance. Fecal microbiota transplants might sound unappealing, but they transfer a healthy community of gut microbes into patients with infections like Clostridioides difficile. Doctors can effectively reboot the patient's microbiome, allowing good bacteria to outcompete pathogens. This has been a stunningly effective treatment, showcasing the power of treating the ecosystem. Now imagine taking this idea further. Engineered bacteria as tiny, living doctors. Scientists are modifying bacteria to act as smart drug delivery systems. Engineered microbes could travel through the body and identify a tumor. Only when they reach their target, they begin producing and releasing cancer-fighting toxins directly into cancer cells. That would minimize side effects on healthy tissue, creating highly targeted, precise chemotherapy. These microbial medics could patrol our bodies, seeking out and destroying disease before it takes hold. We could design bacteria that live on our teeth and fight cavity-causing microbes. We could engineer gut bacteria that produce insulin for diabetics. We could engineer gut bacteria that synthesize missing nutrients. We might create bacteria that identify and repair damaged tissues, speeding healing from injuries or surgery. We are on the cusp of programming life itself to heal us from the inside out. Our modern industrial world has a waste problem. We've filled our oceans with plastic, we've contaminated our soils with industrial chemicals, we've polluted our waterways with oil spills. Cleaning up this mess with traditional methods is often slow, it's expensive and honestly pretty inefficient. But once again, nature's most ancient and adaptable life forms offer a solution. Bacteria, with their incredibly diverse metabolic capabilities, can be our most powerful allies in environmental cleanup. This is called bioremediation. Some species of bacteria have evolved the ability to eat persistent toxic pollutants. Consider the tragedy of an oil spill. It creates a slick that chokes marine life and devastates coastal ecosystems. While humans struggle with booms and skimmers, certain bacteria actually see it as a feast. There are marine bacteria that can break down complex hydrocarbons in crude oil, consuming them as a source of food and energy. Scientists are working to enhance these natural processes, maybe by seeding oil spills with cocktails of oil-eating microbes, or by providing nutrients so they multiply rapidly. They are turning disasters into a bacterial banquet, cleaning our oceans one molecule at a time. Plastic pollution is even more daunting. Plastics are designed to last for centuries, yet bacteria are showing us a way forward. In 2016, scientists in Japan discovered Ideonella sakaiensis, a species that evolved to eat PET, the plastic used in water bottles. It produces enzymes that break the plastic into basic chemical components, which the bacteria then use for energy. We've come to accept that bacteria influence our physical health, our digestion, and our immunity. But the latest science is venturing into territory that's far more unsettling and, honestly, pretty profound. Evidence is mounting that the trillions of microbes in our gut are not just passive residents. They're actively communicating with our brain, influencing our moods, our thoughts, and even our behaviors. This connection, known as the gut-brain axis, is a complex superhighway of chemical signals traveling between our digestive tract and our central nervous system. It raises a startling question: how much of you is really you, and how much is being directed by your microbial puppeteers? The communication happens through various channels. Gut microbes produce a vast array of neurochemicals, the very same chemicals that our brain uses to regulate mood. In fact, it's estimated that about 90% of the body's serotonin, a key neurotransmitter associated with feelings of happiness and well-being, is produced by bacteria in the gut. They also produce other signaling molecules like dopamine GABA. These chemicals can enter the bloodstream or stimulate the vagus nerve, a major nerve that runs directly from the gut to the brain, providing a direct line of communication. Changes in your gut microbial community can lead to changes in your brain chemistry. This connection is not just theoretical. Studies in mice have shown that altering the gut microbiome can dramatically change their behavior. Germ-free mice raised in a sterile environment with no microbes often exhibit signs of anxiety and antisocial behavior compared to normal mice. In our digital age, humanity generates an astronomical amount of data every single day. From social media posts, scientific research, global financial records, our need for data storage is growing exponentially. Our current technologies like hard drives, flash memory are powerful but have limitations. They require vast amounts of energy, take up physical space, and degrade over time. But what if we could store information in the most ancient and durable medium of all, life itself? Scientists are now turning to the building blocks of life, DNA, as the ultimate data storage solution, and bacteria could be our living hard drives. The concept is based on the simple fact that DNA is a code. Just as computer data is stored as a series of zeros and ones, genetic information is stored in the sequence of 4 chemical bases, ATCG. This biological alphabet can be used to encode any digital information imaginable. The storage density is honestly mind-boggling. We are moving beyond simply observing and appreciating bacteria, we are stepping into the role of creators. The field of synthetic biology is transforming our relationship from discovery to design. It aims to apply the principles of engineering, standardization, modularity, abstraction. Scientists are creating a library of standardized genetic parts like switches, sensors, oscillators, that can be assembled together to program living cells, especially bacteria, to perform novel and useful tasks. We are learning to write new code in the language of DNA, turning bacteria into tiny, programmable, biological machines. This is not science fiction, it is already happening in labs around the world. For instance, researchers have engineered bacteria that act as living biosensors. These microbes can be designed to detect the presence of a specific substance in the environment, such as a pollutant, a heavy metal, or even a biomarker for a disease. We like to think of ourselves as the pinnacle of evolution, the intelligent species destined to conquer the planet and reach for the stars. We build rockets, we explore other worlds, we see ourselves as the agents of life's expansion into the cosmos. But what if we have the story completely backward? What if we are not the protagonists of this grand narrative? From a different perspective, a microbial perspective, humans and other large animals are not the masters of the planet. We are vehicles. We are elaborate, mobile, climate-controlled vessels designed for one primary purpose: to carry bacteria around the world and perhaps one day, beyond it. Consider the evolutionary arrangement. Bacteria are ancient and incredibly successful, but on their own, their mobility is limited. They are largely at the mercy of wind and water currents. Then, over eons, complex multicellular life evolved, creating walking ecosystems, flying ecosystems, swimming ecosystems. We, with our warm, nutrient-rich guts and our ability to travel vast distances, are the perfect microbial transports. We provide them with a stable home. We have journeyed through the invisible empire that surrounds and inhabits us. We have seen bacteria as architects of our planet, engineers of our bodies, janitors of our environment, potential whisperers to our minds. They built our world, they maintain our health. They may hold the key to our future, curing diseases, storing our collective knowledge in living libraries. We are learning to work with them, program them not as simple germs, ancient, sophisticated, indispensable partners. The evidence is overwhelming, our fate is inextricably linked to theirs. This forces us to reconsider our place in the world. The traditional view of humanity at the apex of a pyramid of life with all other creatures existing for our benefit is revealed to be a profound vanity. We are not masters of a world we command, we are tenants in a world built and maintained by microbes. We are one small, recent branch on a tree of life whose roots and trunk are entirely bacterial. Our sense of individuality and control is in many ways an illusion. Only a grand, magnificent partnership.